in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me.
He for whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me.
My devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me.
One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, such a devotee is very dear to me.
One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me.
Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me.
Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose to the 12th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of devotional service.
Chapter 13, Nature, the Enjoyer and Consciousness. Arjun Uvacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragnam Evacha Edat Vedim Ichhami Gnanam Geyam Chakeshava. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetram iti abhidiyate etadyo veti tam prahu kshetragna iti tadvida. Kshetragnam chapi mam vidi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetragna yor jnanam yattaj jnanam matam mama tat kshetram yaccha yadrakcha yad vikara yatascha yat sacha yo yat prabhavascha tat samasena me shrunu. Rishbir Buddha Gitam Chandobir Vividhe Prathak Brahma Sutra Padascheva Hetu Madbir Vinishchite Mahabhutani Ahankaro Buddhir Avyaktam Evacha Indriyani Dashaikam Cha Pancha Chendriya Gochara Ichcha Dvesha Sukha Dukkham Sangatas Chetana Dhriti Etat Kshetram Samasena Savikaram Udharatam Amanitvam Adambitvam Ahimsa Shantirajavam Acharya Upashanam Saucham Stairyam Atma Vinigraha Indriyartheshu Vairagyam Ahankara Evacha Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshanudarshanam Asaktiranabhisanga Putradara Grahadishu Nityam cha samachittatvam Ishtanistopapatishu Mai chanenya yogena Bhaktiravyabicharini Vivikta desha sevitvam Artirjana samsadi Adhyatma gnana nityatvam Tattva janartha gnanam Etat gnanam iti proktam Agnanam yat ato nanyatha Gneyam yat pravakshami Yat gnatvam ashnute Anadimat param brahma Nasattan nasat uchyate Sarvatra pani padam tat Sarvatokshi shiro mukham Sarvatra shruti malloke Sarvam avratya tishtati Sarvendriya gunabhasham Sarvendriya vivarjitam Asaktam sarva brachaiva Nirgunam gunabhoktarcha Bahirantascha bhutanam Acharam charam evacha सूक्ष्मवात् तद् अविज्ञेयं दूरस्थं चान्तिके च तद् अविभक्तं च भूतेषु विभक्तम् इव च स्थितं भूतभर्तर च तद्येयं ग्रसिष्णु प्रभविष्णु च ज्योतिषामपि तज्ज्योतिस्तमस्परमुच्चित्य ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानगम्यं हृदि सर्वस्य विष्ठितम् इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासत मद्भक्त एतद्विज्ञाय मद्भावापपद्यते प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव विद्धि अनादि उदावपि विकारामश्च गुणामश्चैव विद्धि प्रकृति संभावन् कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुर्प्रकृति उच्यते पुरुषः स सुखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते पुरुष प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणा कारणं गुण असङ्गोऽस्य सद् असद्योनिषु जन्मसु उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भरत भोक्ता महेश्वर परमात्मेति चापि उक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः पर य एवं वेति पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न स भूयोऽभिजायते ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मनाम् आत्मनः न्यसाङ्ख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे अन्ये त्वमेवम् अज्ञानतः श्रुत्वा नेभ्य उपासते ते अपि चिता तरन्ति एव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणा यावत् सञ्जायते किञ्चित् सत्त्वं स्थावरजङ्गमं क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञसंयोगात् तद्विधि भरतर्षभ समं सर्वेषु भूतेषु तिष्ठन्तं परमेश्वरं विनश्यत्स्व अविनश्यन्तं यः पश्यति स पश्यति समं पश्यं हि सर्वत्र समत्वितम् ईश्वरं न हिनस्ति आत्मनामात्मनं ततो याति परां गतिं प्रकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यन्ति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति यदा भूता पृथग्भावम् एकस्थम् अनुपश्यति तत एव च विस्तारं ब्रह्म सम्पद्यते तदा अदान्वितन्निर्गुणावात् परमात्मनयम् अव्यय शरीरस्थोऽपि कौन्तेय न करोति न लिप्यते यथा सर्वगतं सौक्ष्म्यात् आकाशं नोपलिप्यते सर्वत्रावस्थितो देहे तथात्मा नोपलिप्यते यथा प्रकाशस्यत्येक कृत्स्नं लोकम् इमं रवि क्षेत्रं क्षेत्र तथा कृत्स्नं प्रकाशयति भारत क्षेत्र क्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अन्तरं ज्ञानचक्षुषा भूता प्रकृति मोक्षं च ये विदुर्यान्ति ते परम्
Chapter 14, The Three Modes of Material Nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. The total material substance, called Brahman, is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions. O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness. Passion conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. The manifestations of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of body are illuminated by knowledge. O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance develop foolishness, madness, and illusion. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior, and how does he transcend the modes of nature? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities. Meaning neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal toward the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and it is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness.
अथ श्री पंचदशोऽध्यायः श्री पुरुषोत्तम योगो नाम श्री भगवानुवाच ऊर्ध्वमूलं अधःशाखम् अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययं छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवेत् अधश्चोर्ध्वं प्रसृतास्तस्य शाखा गुणप्रवृद्धा विषयप्रवाला अधश्च मूलानि अनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके न रूपमस्येह ततोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थं येन सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्ति प्रसृता पुराणी निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषा आध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामा द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसमग्नैर्गच्छन्ति यमूढा पदमव्ययं तत् न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतसनातनः मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीरं यदवाप्नोति यच्चापि उत्क्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात् श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयानुपसेवते उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति नानचक्षुषः यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अवस्थितं यतन्तोऽपि अकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्ति अचेतसः यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयतेऽखिलं यच्चन्द्रमसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम् गामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयामि अहमोजसा पुष्णामि चौषधाः सर्वा सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमायुक्त पचामि अन्नं चतुर्विधम् सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मतस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहं द्वाविमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरश्चाक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थो अक्षर उच्यते उत्तमपुरुषस्त्वन्य परमात्मेति उदाहृतः यो लोकत्रयमाविश्य विवर्ति अव्यय ईश्वरः यस्माक्षरम् अतीतोऽहम् अक्षरात् अविचोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रतितः पुरुषोत्तमः यो माम् एवम् असम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविद् भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदम् उक्तं मया नघ एतद् बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृत्यश्च भारत। ओम तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवादे पुरुषोत्तमो योगो नाम पंचदशोऽध्यायः।
Chapter 16, the divine and demoniac natures. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, study, determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, O son of Pritha. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demoniac qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities. O son of Prithu, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine and the other demoniac. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demoniac. Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness, nor proper behavior, nor truth is found in them. They say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. Following such conclusions, the demoniac, who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. Taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demoniac, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain much more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into health. Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only, without following any rules or regulations. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. Attaining repeated birth and death, birth amongst the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. There are 3 gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. The man who has escaped these 3 gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization, and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness, nor the supreme destination. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated.
Hare Krishna. अतः सप्तदशोऽध्यायः श्रद्धात्रयविभागयोगः अर्जुन उवाच ये शास्त्रविधिमुत्सृज्य यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेषां निष्ठा तु का कृष्ण सत्वम् आहो रजस्तमः श्रीभगवानुवाच त्रिविधा भवति श्रद्धा देहिनां सा स्वभावजा सात्विकी राजसी चैव तामसी चेति तां शृणु सत्त्वानुरूपसर्वस्य श्रद्धा भवति भारत श्रद्धामयो अयं पुरुषो यो च श्रद्धः स एव सः यजन्ते सात्विका देवान् यक्षराक्षांसि राजसाः प्रेतान् भूतागणांश्चान्ये यजन्ते तमसा जनाः अशास्त्रविहितं घोरं तप्यन्ते ये तपोजनाः दम्भाहङ्कारसंयुक्ताः कामरागबलान्विताः कार्षयन्तः शरीरस्थं भूतग्रामम् अचेतसः मां चैवान्तः शरीरस्थं तान् विद्धि आसुरनिश्चयान् आहारस्त्व अपि सर्वस्य त्रिविधो भवति प्रियः यज्ञस्तपस्तथा दानं तेषां भेदम् इमं शृणु आयुसत्त्वबलारोग्य सुखप्रीतिविवर्धनाः रस्य स्निग्धा स्थिरा हृद्य आहारसात्विकः प्रियाः कट्वलम्लवनात्युष्ण तीक्ष्णरुक्षविहनिना आहारराजसस्येष्टा दुःखशोकामयप्रदाः यातयामं गतरास्यं पूतपूजयत् उच्छिष्टम् अपि चामेध्यं भोजनं तमसा प्रियम् अफलकाङ्क्षिभिर्यज्ञो विधिदिष्टो युज्यते यष्टव्यम् एवेति मनः समाधाय स सात्विकः अभिसन्धाय तु फलं दम्भहर्तारम् अपि चैव यत् युज्यते भरतश्रेष्ठ तं यज्ञं विधिराजसं विद्धिहीनम् असृष्टानं मन्त्रहीनम् अदक्षिणं श्रद्धाविरहितं यज्ञं तामसं परिचक्षते देवद्विजगुरुप्रज्ञा पूजनं शौचमार्जवं ब्रह्मचर्यम् अहिंसा च शरीरं तप उच्यते अनुद्वेगकरं वाक्यं सत्यं प्रियहितं च यत् स्वाध्यायाभ्यसनं चैव वाङ्मयं तप उच्यते मनः प्रसादसौम्यत्वं मौनमात्मविनिग्रहः भावसंशुद्धिरिति तत् तपो मानसम् उच्यते श्रद्धया परया तप्तं तपस्तत्त्रिविधं नरैः अपलकाङ्क्षिभिर्युक्तैः सात्विकं परिचक्षते सत्कारमानपूजार्थं तपोदम्भेन चैव यत् क्रियते तद् इधा प्रोक्तं राजसं चलम् अध्रुवम् मूढग्रहाणेत्तात्मनो यत् पीडया क्रियते तपः परस्योत्सादनार्थं वा तत्तामसम् उदाहृतं दातव्यम् इति यद्दानं दीयते अनुपकारिणे देशकाले च पात्रे च तद्दानं सात्विकं स्मृतं यत्तु प्रत्युपकारार्थं फलम् उद्दिश्य वा पुनः दीयते च परिक्लिष्टं तद्दानं राजसं स्मृतम् अदेशकाले यद्दानम् अपात्रेभ्यश्च दीयते असत्कृतम् अवज्ञातं तत्तामसम् उदाहृतम् ॐ तत्सत् इति निर्देशो ब्रह्मणस्त्रिविधः स्मृतः ब्राह्मणास्तेन वेदाश्च यज्ञश्च विहितः पुराः तस्मात् ॐ इति उद्धारित्य यज्ञदानतपः क्रियाः प्रवर्तन्ते विधानोक्ताः सततं ब्रह्मवादिनां तद् इति अनभिसन्धाय फलं यज्ञतपः क्रिया दानस्क्रियाश्च विविधाः क्रियन्ते मोक्षकाङ्क्षिभिः सद्भावसाधुभावे च सद् इति एतत् प्रयुज्यते प्रशस्ते कर्मणि तथा सच्छब्दपार्थ युज्यते यज्ञतपसि दाने च स्थिति सद् इति चोच्यते कर्म चैव तदर्थीयं सद् इति एवाभिधीयते अश्रद्धया हुतं दत्तं तपस्तप्तं कृतं च यत् असत् इति उच्यते पार्थ न च तत्प्रेतयनो इह ओम तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्ण अर्जुन संवादे श्रद्धात्रयो विभाग योग नाम सप्तदशो अध्यायः
Hare Krishna. Final chapter. Hari Bol. Chapter 18, conclusion. Okay. Arjuna said, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, tyaga, and of the renounced order of life, sannyas, O killer of the Keshi demon, master of the senses. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men call the renounced order of life, sannyas. And giving up the results of all activities is what the wise call renunciation, tyaga. Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up as faulty, yet other sages maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned. O best of the Bharatas, now hear my judgment about renunciation. O tiger among men, renunciation is declared in the scriptures to be of three kinds. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. All these activities should be performed without attachment or any expectation of a result. They should be performed as a matter of duty, O son of Pritha. That is my final opinion. Prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Anyone who gives up prescribed duties as troublesome or out of fear of bodily discomfort is said to have renounced in the mode of passion. Such action never leads to the elevation of renunciation. O Arjuna, when one performs his prescribed duty only because it ought to be done, and renounces all material association and all attachment to the fruit, his renunciation is said to be in the mode of goodness. The intelligent renouncer, situated in the mode of goodness, neither hateful of inauspicious work, nor attached to auspicious work, has no doubts about work. It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has truly renounced. For one who is not renounced, the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, accrue after death. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result to suffer or enjoy. O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. The place of action, the body; the performer, the various senses; the many different kinds of endeavor; and ultimately the supersoul. These are the 5 factors of action. Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions. knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower are the three factors that motivate action. The senses, the work, and the doer are the three constituents of action. According to the three different modes of material nature, there are three kinds of knowledge: action and performer of action. Now hear of them from me. That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities, though they are divided into innumerable forms, you should understand to be in the mode of goodness. That knowledge by which one sees that in every different body there's a different type of living entity, you should understand to be in the mode of passion. And that knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as the all in all, without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager, is said to be in the mode of darkness. That action which is regulated and which is performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without desire for fruitive results, is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires and enacted from a sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion. That action performed in illusion, in disregard of scriptural injunctions, and without concern for future bondage or for violence or distress caused to others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. The worker who is attached to work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy those fruits, and who is greedy, always envious, impure, and moved by joy and sorrow, is said to be in the mode of passion. The worker who is always engaged in work against the injunctions of the scripture, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others, and who is lazy, always morose, and procrastinating, is said to be a worker in the mode of ignorance. O winner of wealth, now please listen as I tell you in detail of the different kinds of understanding and determination according to the three modes of material nature. O son of Pritha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. O son of Pritha, that understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, is in the mode of passion. That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness, and strives always in the wrong direction, O Partha, is in the mode of ignorance. O son of Pritha, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice, and which thus controls the activities of the mind, life, and senses, is determination in the mode of goodness. But that determination by which one holds fast to fruit of results in religion, economic development, and sense gratification is of the nature of passion, O Arjuna. And that determination, which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, and illusion, such intelligent determination, O son of Pritha, is in the mode of darkness. O best of the Bharatas, now please hear from me about the three kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys, and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. That happiness, which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects, and which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be of the nature of passion. And that happiness, which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to me of the nature of ignorance.
There is no being existing, either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary systems, which is freed from these three modes born of material nature. Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras are distinguished by the qualities born of their own natures in accordance with the material modes, O chastiser of the enemy. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness, these are the natural qualities by which the Brahmins work. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. Farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas, and for the Sudras there are labor and service to others. By following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions. Every endeavor is covered by some fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. One who is self-controlled and unattached, and who disregards all material enjoyments, can obtain by practice of renunciation the highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction. O son of Kunti, learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection can attain to the supreme perfectional stage, Brahman, the stage of highest knowledge, by acting in the way I shall now summarize. Being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, who is always in trance, and who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship, and peaceful. Such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee, under my protection, reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction. But compelled by the work born of your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. O Shion of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully, and then do what you wish to do. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. And one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell. O son of Pritha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind? And are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled? Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and am prepared to act according to your instructions. Sanjaya said, Thus I have heard the conversation of the two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna. And so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. By the mercy of Vyas, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna. O king, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment. O king, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. Om Tat Sat.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So we all participated today in a yagya of reciting all the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. And I'm sure you all feel very fortunate that we could have been anywhere else, but we were here today reciting the Bhagavad Gita. We did one part of the yagya, which is to read the Bhagavad Gita. Now it's our turn to do the second part of the yagya, which is to radiate or share the Bhagavad Gita. There are many, many, many people who are outside this room who have probably never heard of the Bhagavad Gita. And on this very special day, auspicious day of Gita Jayanti, as we read in the 18th chapter, there is no one more dear to me than he who shares this knowledge. So all of us who are fortunate enough to read, to be familiar, to be acquainted with the Gita, it is our duty to share the Bhagavad Gita. In Toronto, we are very fortunate that we have the Shastra Dan program, which allows everybody, even someone who doesn't have any time, to participate in sharing this divine knowledge. Over the last 15 years, we have placed the Bhagavad Gita in more than 4,000 venues all over Canada, and more than, Hare Krishna, 170,000 books have been placed in venues across Canada. And these venues, of course, include hotels, motels, but they also include places like correctional facilities. Last Sunday, I don't know how many of you were here, but we had a live testimonial of a chaplain from the largest correctional institute in Canada. He was describing how the Bhagavad Gita that was placed because of donations of devotees like yourselves, there are people in that correctional institution who have nothing to do with any kind of a background knowing about Krishna or the Bhagavad Gita, but their lives transformed. So much so that they actually asked for a Srimad Bhagavatam right in the prison. 2 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Hare Krishna. There's a lot of good causes, but there's only one great cause. And that cause is to give someone knowledge. Because knowledge is the end of all suffering. You can do many acts of charity, give somebody food, give somebody clothes, but if they're destined to suffer, they are going to suffer. It's the law of karma, unfortunately. But when we interject their lives with knowledge, it allows them an opportunity to access divine wealth. So today, I won't take more of your time. I know everybody's waiting for Prasadam. But today, on this very special day, please don't hold back. Come forward, participate in the Gift of Gita program. We have these cards. We have convenient online options by which you can donate. 1 box of Bhagavad Gitas that has 24 copies only costs $156. Please, there is no minimum and there is no maximum. Some people give all their lives, you give what you can because your donation is going to make a big difference. Every little bit counts. It's changing the world one person at a time. So please don't hold back. We have a goal of 28,000 Bhagavad Gitas in Toronto, and Krishna willing, by all your support, we will do it. Please come forward. Today is the day, auspicious day of Gita Jayanti. Make your donations count. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so how many of you participated from the beginning to the end, reading all the chapters of the Bhagavad Gita? Put up your hands. Hari Bol. Okay, look at your partners. Are they still there alive? Tell them that, you know, in this world where 30 seconds of Instagram reels only trend and not more than that, we stayed here for 3 long hours and read the entire Bhagavad Gita. And so thank you so much. But as Shama Mohini Mataji was mentioning, that is just the first part of the yagya. The next yagya is still left, which is to share the knowledge, share the wisdom. So do participate in the Bhagavad Gita marathon. And all I wanted to say that today's prasadam is cooked by Dwarkanath Prabhu. So let's hear for Dwarkanath Prabhu. Hari Bol. Also wanted to mention one more thing. The neighbors around might not know that today is Gita Jayanti. So you might tell them not by littering around the garbage. So please don't do that. And I quickly also want to invite His Holiness Bhakti Mark Swami Maharaj to say a few words.
Hare Krishna. Jai, we are so grateful that Krishna has spoken up. And so this is all about sharing. And just to, let's say, agitate a little bit of competition, I was in our Mississauga facility last Sunday, and the devotees there got together, pledged for 1,300 Bhagavad Gitas in Spanish for the Cuban population. Hare Krishna. So it's a new direction, and these are the kind of things we can do. So let's thank Mississauga. Yeah, now you're up for some competition. Haribol.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. And we have a quick announcement from Monisha. She has a great news for holiday season coming up. What's that?
Yes, so it's December now, which means people are usually kind of off work. And if you want to celebrate the holiday season, the best way to celebrate is by chanting the holy name. So on December 22nd, from 2 to 6 p.m., we're going to have an amazing holiday kirtan. So please join us. It's Sunday, December 22nd. Mark your calendars, and it's going to be amazing.
Perfect. So we look forward to see you on December 22nd.
Yes.
And of course, every Sunday for our Sunday Feast program. Thank you so much for participating in the Bhagavad Gita Marathon by reading it today and of course by participating. Hare Krishna.
Yes. And when you join us on December 22nd, please wear red or green or both. Thank you. Haribol.